Hey, friends, welcome back to the Called to Lead podcast. So, I'm super excited to be kicking off the countdown to our official rollout of our company, Restore Collective. And one of the questions that I hear most often asked, and if you are considering enrolling as a partner or advocate with Restore, you have probably heard this question too. And that question is, what makes Restore different? And I'm so glad you asked because, to be honest, there are so many things. And as per usual, I have a simple answer for you, and that is with our 5 S's: safe, seasonal, simple, smart, and sustainable. And so, whether or not you've heard those 5 S's as our differentiators when it comes to both the product and the compensation plan, what I have realized is that even within each of those 5 different categories, there are probably 3 to 5 different facets of honestly each and every product, each and every detail of our really custom tailored compensation plan that it might take an entire podcast to tackle each one of these 5 S's. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. For the next 5 weeks, we are going to be looking at one of these 5S differentiators and really drilling in what makes Restore Collective different, both when it comes to the product and when it comes to the profit or compensation plan side of our company. So without further ado, let's start with the first S, which is going to be seasonal. Let's dive in. So, if you've been following along the Restore Collective journey, and certainly if you have been sharing your excitement and highlighting the vision for what we are doing here with Restore, you have certainly heard from others the question, what makes Restore Collective different from what else is out there? But also, you've probably thought that same question yourself. And in fact, the 5 S's stemmed from a conversation with one of our awesome founding partner mentors, who, when she first saw our Glow capsule just 3D sample concept, and she saw that it was a magnetic palette with tins. That was her question to me is, but what makes this different? And so, of course, I had all of these ideas in my mind, and it was very intentionally curated to be quite different from what has been done out there on the market by actually for decades by different companies, as we'll talk about today. But I needed a way to concisely communicate what was in my head. And so immediately I had this inspiration for the 5 S's, which is seasonal, which is basically tied to that thing that what goes around comes around. And we'll talk more about that here in this episode. Safe, simple, and really finding ways to drill down and make what's already out there that's amazing even more simple. Smart, and finding some really cool, innovative solutions. And sustainable, which is very important in today's world, not just when it comes to being a good steward of our environment, but really creating a system that is something that can last and can build a business around. So, the 5 S's, whether or not you've heard those are the official answer, but hopefully the episodes that are going to follow can help you really understand what I mean within each one of those. And again, there's content and story ideas for days wrapped up in what we are going to be sharing today. So the first one we're going to tackle is seasonal. And this is wrapped product-wise in a few different areas. The first one being that our curated glow capsule is tied not so much to the exact color season, like we won't be typing people as an autumn or a spring or a summer or a winter, but certainly that concept is something that actually my grandmother first taught me about. She had a book called Color Me Beautiful. I literally still have the book with her name written in it, and it's been such an inspiration for me. And so when we sought to really focus in on, okay, we love the idea of a simplified makeup system all in one custom palette, and the fact that we can, get ready in minutes. That is something that I know so many people can value. But what can we do to really make it unique and innovative? Well, taking this timeless principle of the color seasonality, where truly there are certain colors that are going to look best on your skin tone, whether you are warm, cool, or if you're lucky and you're neutral like me, you're going to be able to wear multiple shades. But then within those shades and possibilities of all the colors that you could be wearing in your color season or color palette, there's likely going to be some colors that are going to be your everyday essentials. And if you recall, our overall mission for Restore Collective is simplifying the lives of active families. And so what we mean by that is if you can not have a ton of options, both for yourself, but also if you're trying to share the product and you're overwhelming your customers with all of the choices that they could have, what if we could drill down to a simple solution that focuses on the seasonality that isn't just a trend that's around right now? And it certainly is. And there are so many great people who have and are building amazing businesses, typing people around the color seasons. And so we won't be doing that ourselves. But we did partner with multiple people who are in that space. And specifically, we have someone on our corporate team who has been an incredible asset because this is what she does. She's professionally trained in it. And while I am not, and don't let me be the one to color type you, I will tell you all day long what I think you are, but we'll leave that to the professionals. But through learning about it, through the book that was my grandmother's, through chatting with Blake, who's helping us with our corporate seasonality, which I'll link to Blake's if you want to get your color season match virtually or in person. Blake is in Alabama, but I did mine virtually, and it was just such a great experience. And she gave me so much clarity on the fact that I'm right smack in between a summer and an autumn. And so while I had been typed to both of those separately from different places, and they weren't wrong, understanding that I am in fact a neutral and that leaning into the colors that are in that neutral, more muted color palette that's in between that season has been a complete game changer to me. It's also been such a blessing that I am neutral because honestly, I can wear most of the shades in our collection because of that. And in fact, that's something that I intend to do is to film some videos showing you that I could probably wear all of the different levels or the 10 different custom curated capsules that we will have in our color science quiz. And so this is a huge differentiator, you guys. There aren't very many people and aren't very many companies right now who are tailoring their product lines specifically towards serving people who want to know what colors look best for their color season. And that is something that really sets us apart, which we're very, very excited about. And so the way that we'll accomplish this is with a color science quiz. So you don't have to, again, know how to color type someone. I certainly do not, even though I like to think that I do. B, you're not going to have them wait around for a color match or you don't have to learn how to color match. Our color science quiz is going to give them a very safe and simple result that is something that she's likely going to love. But the cool thing is because freedom is one of our core values, the result isn't just going to pigeonhole her into what we recommend. She can even, after we've given the recommendations, go in and make some adjustments to the custom curated capsule herself. And so the color seasonality truly is something that really sets our products apart. And it's something that we intend to kind of build on in the months and years to come. So for example, we have what's also called the Go capsule, which is a little portable version for extra tins and your refills, as we call them. And that is something that we can actually tailor in, for example, with a blue eye bundle or a summer bundle if you are a summer color season. And so whether or not you are using that as one of your brand pillars, the color seasonality, or maybe you're just exploring it yourself personally, and this is a facet for a way that you can integrate Restore into what you're doing, this is something that is going to allow us to capitalize on this amazing and exciting growing trend in the market of the color seasonality. So that's the first reason seasonality makes our product different. The second reason of seasonality is a little bit tied to the first, and I didn't even realize this, you guys, until this weekend. And every time we do one of our Restore road trips, my favorite parts are really having the one-to-one conversations with people who are learning about our mission, vision, and values with Restore and sharing their personal stories behind it. And one of the gals at our Woodstock event this weekend named Taylor drove all the way from Mississippi to Woodstock to north of Atlanta to be a part of this Restore road trip. And she shared this beautiful story with me that honestly brought me to tears. And that is that her mother passed about 10 years ago. And when she heard about what we were doing here with Restore, there was something that was kind of triggered in her mind. And she ran over she still had her mom's makeup bag. And she went over to her makeup bag and she whipped out this Mary Kay palette that was a literal refillable palette that I think was from maybe like the 80s that had, I don't know that actually, I do think it was tied to the color seasons. I did a little bit of research and I found one on eBay and I do think it was tied to the color seasons. So what Restore is doing, it's not necessarily new, But that goes to our second reason that what makes us different is tied directly to scripture, and that is Ecclesiastes 3, which is there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And so this concept both of color seasonality, of a curated all-in-one palette, isn't something that we're patenting or that anyone had patented. And if anybody would, it would have been Mary Kay, let me tell you, because I'm listening to this amazing book about the life and story of Mary Kay herself. And I did not realize that she was a strong believer, founded her company in faith. And it's just really exciting to know that what we're doing here with Restore is kind of the new and innovative version of that. Not to knock Mary Kay. I think Mary Kay's great. But just like you've got Home Depot and Lowe's, you've got Walgreens and CVS, or as I like to say, you've got Lululemon and Aloe. And with us being more the athleisure of makeup and really focusing in on the everyday essentials that our active families want to use, truly, there's room for both Aloe and Lululemon. And so this concept goes back for decades, for generations, or for seasons, as we like to call it. And so for me, when Taylor shared this story, it just stirred up so many emotions, because what she shared with me is that when she thinks about that palette, and one of the reasons that she's held on to that in her makeup is because it reminds her of her mom, who was an entrepreneur. She did nails for a living. And so she worked with people who sold Avon and Mary Kay back in the day. And she got to watch her mom and her mom's friends really focus on simplified beauty so they could spend more time, with their children or with the things that they love. And that ultimately is what we are doing here. And we're doing it in a way that's just taking it a next level up. This isn't your grandma's Mary Kay palette, my friends. But, truly, I think that seasonality, in terms of the fact that what goes around comes around, that what was popular back in the 70s and 80s with our grandmas and with our aunts and maybe even our moms, is something that we are bringing with a fresh, unique, different take to the market. So that seasonality component is also one of the things that sets our product apart. And then the final one when it comes to seasonality is really encouraging the rhythms of rest and renewal within your life and your business, and what that looks like with your makeup. You guys, there are some days that I don't even wear makeup, and that is okay. And yes, I own a makeup company, right? But that is not something that you necessarily need to do. And there's a time and a place for certain product types. There's a time and a place, and some of you guys might not even wear the makeup every day. But for those women who, like our grandmothers, want something that is really fast, really simple, and that we know is going to really complement our natural beauty, our product is going to hopefully help give more time back in the day to equip you for those seasons when you might have a newborn or you might be traveling a lot. And so actually our makeup is very travel friendly. And I have already found that people are excited about maybe having one of our makeup edits, for example, in their RV, and one at home, or one that they take to their travel baseball games. Everything is meant to be designed to meet you where you are in the season of life. And what that looks like too, which I love from a product perspective, is when we first start learning how to do makeup, it's usually as maybe a middle schooler. And in that, we can equip someone like a middle schooler with a safe, simple solution that's going to teach her exactly the steps that are going to enhance that natural beauty. But what's really cool is what some of us learned in middle school. Maybe it was going to the Clinique counter with your mom, or maybe it was Bobbi Brown or Trish McEvoy going again to Belk and learning those first steps of makeup. Sometimes that's what people wind up using for generations, right? For decades, because what you learn first, you tend to stick with, especially if you are a creature of habit. So that's kind of the first season that people encounter. And I think that our curated glow capsule is going to be an amazing gift for someone who's just learning how to do their makeup for the first time, whether they're 15 or 50. And so the next season that people usually enter into within their makeup world is kind of that teens, 20s, post-college, when you kind of want all the things and you want to try all the best versions of different things. And what we have with Restore is going to allow you to do that, because unlike going into Ulta and getting 3 things and spending $120, you're going to be able to get your entire routine all in one. Or you can try some of our unique and innovative products like our Lip Shine or our tubing mascara or our SPF Prime Protect, and integrate those into the routines that you're already using and loving. So even if you are in that phase and season, like my daughter is, she's 15 and she loves makeup and she does love the Restore makeup, but she wears it right alongside her Milk makeup or her Summer Fridays and all of the other brands that she loves to get from Sephora. So that all the things season is something that I think people will like because it's going to take up less room in your bag. It's going to complement the things that you already love and wear. But then the season and our perfect kind of target customer and what most of our customers, probably 80% will be in that 30s, 40s, and 50s, or even more mature women who just want a simple, fast, easy routine. So even though I used to be that all the things girl and I had that big caboodle that I was doing makeup on the sorority house floor for all my friends and family, and I wanted all the things and I could spend hours in Sephora, ain't nobody got time for that when you're trying to raise children, run a business, maybe you work full time, maybe you're a nurse or a homeschool mama, and you just want something that's simple and easy. And truly, that season of a woman's life is something that I think our products serve perfectly. So, those are the three ways that our product stands out and is different thanks to the seasonality component: the color seasons, the seasonal aspect that this is not a new concept. It's one that's been around for generations, and what goes around comes around, and it's tied to that Ecclesiastes 3. And then finally, the seasons of a woman's life, where this concept of the curated glow capsule is going to be custom tailored to meet her where she is at whatever season of her life that she's in. So, moving on to our profit or compensation plan side. The seasonality component is big time baked into that as well. And so I wanted to spotlight that in case you are considering building a business with Restore. And so the first seasonality component is tied to the fact that literally our personal sales commissions and the requirements to move through the ranks are based in seasons. They have a quarterly concept where you, for example, to hit the first rank of profitable partner, which is something that you should aspire to each and every month at a bare minimum so that you are making more money than you're spending and investing back into your business so that you actually have a business, right? But all it is you can sell $100 in 1 month or $300, which is just 3 times 100 over the last 3 months. And so what that looks like is you might have a month where you do have a baby or you just don't have a lot of time to be able to put into your business. But the next month you have a killer beauty lab experience and you can create some volume in your business in that month and that season. Or if you're wise and you serve your customers really well and you start to generate a really solid reorder business, and that for us is going to be about a 2 to 4 or about a 3 month on average reorder window, because when we get to the smart pillar, you will know why, because all of our tins and all of our products are smart size to hit that exact same target of that. And so it might be that, say you have a killer party in January and your customers aren't going to need to order their product for about 3 months on average. That volume from that beauty lab experience or that party that you host isn't likely going to create that residual orders and reorders until a few months later. And so that's meant to capitalize on that. And so we worked with our compensation plan developers on really creating this unique facet of the seasonality baked right into our compensation plan. And what's cool is even at the top, highest levels of the ranks in our partner program, the most you ever have to sell in order to get paid on your team and to earn all of the bonuses is $600 in 1 month or $1,800 over the last 3 months. And so that is very attainable, very achievable, and it's tied directly to the seasonality and the natural ebbs and flows of running any business. So the second thing is that with our advocate program in particular, it is meant to allow people to try out Restore Collective for a season with literally zero investment for that 3 month period. So someone who's considering joining and sharing Restore and maybe just wants to host a beauty lab experience and gain both the free product but also some commissions on the back end, or someone who's maybe had a bad experience in network marketing and maybe doesn't really trust that what we're doing here truly is different, and I completely understand. Or maybe they are with another company. Maybe they are kind of rooted and invested and building and leading and growing at another company. And whether or not they're kind of considering another option, this advocate program is meant to be a way for them to join as an affiliate only for a season where they have 3 months where they don't even have to pay anything, not a back office fee, not an enrollment fee. They can literally click enroll and within minutes have a tailored loyalty link that they can share with potential customers and their friends that might be attending a Beauty Lab experience. And it's meant to be a way to try out Restore Collective for a season. And then at the end of that 3 months, which we, of course, will have some drip campaigns that are going to be there tailored to remind you. And at any point, you can invest in what we call the Digital Business Toolkit, which is just $50 for a quarter or $150 for a year. So another seasonal component, right? You're only investing in your business quarterly rather than having that monthly expense associated with it. So when you choose the option to enroll as an advocate to test this out for a season, you do get that digital business toolkit, but you just don't get the maximum commissions earning potential and you don't get paid on a downline or a team. And so that advocate program is really something that makes our compensation plan really different and really unique because it's a true hybrid approach that meets people right where they are, whether they're timid about diving into a direct sales experience, whether they honestly just want the best deal and best value to be able to share it with their friends and family without the pressures of building a team, or again, whether they're a leader at another company that's maybe considering or pursuing another option. Because we would never tell someone who is rooted and grounded at another company and intends to stay there and continue building there, we would never recommend the partner program for them. And even if they can do the math and realize, hey, I can get a higher commission by doing this, it's setting the tone and example for their team that they are trying to build and grow in two different companies. And we want that advocate program to be the baby step option to show that they're just sharing a link to something that they love and kind of testing things out and seeing if Restore could be right for them on a bigger level when it comes to our partner program. And so that seasonality is truly meant to be able to serve the advocates and partners through our compensation plan in allowing people to test this for a season. So then lastly, we have tons of really cool quarterly and seasonal things. We have some fun bonuses that are even going to be coming up at some point. We're going to have some just really, really cool facets that you'll learn more about, especially at our Welcome Home Launch and Learning event, which don't forget to check that out. You can go to restorecollective.co/welcome home if you want the scoop on our launch and learning event that's taking place in Orlando, Florida, July 24th through July 27th of this year. We would love to see you there, and we're going to be rolling out some really exciting things, and you're going to see that the seasonality component is baked into there. So once again, kind of like with the product, how it kind of encourages those different rhythms and seasons of your life and business, our comp plan does the same thing. There are seasons just like when you're learning how to do your makeup and then you're maybe collecting all the makeup and then you kind of simplify and drill it down. The same thing is baked into our comp plan. We've got the 4 phases of our comp plan where it starts with everyone focusing on just finding customers and really getting good at that and kind of scaling what it looks like to find customers 5 at a time. Then focusing on finding 5 partners or advocates that want to help you build the volume that's going to create the commissions or help you get paid, right? And make an income and build a business with Restore. And that commission is going to come from the volume of finding partners in addition to the solid foundation of your own personal sales. And then the next phase is developing other leaders. And the season for doing that can be really intimidating to some people if they've never led a team or they maybe feel like they don't have what it takes to be a leader. But I'm telling you, that is a season of your business that you will naturally get to if you focus on keeping the main things at the current and appropriate season of your business. So starting with a focus on customers, building on that and maintaining that focus on strong customer service, but shifting your focus to help sharing the value of the business with others and growing the volume on your branch and your group, as we call it in our compensation plan. And that from that volume that you build, not just on your own team as a partner or from your own personal sales as a partner, but from your entire team is what's going to help not only build your commissions, but it's also going to build fulfillment because you're not the only one who's having results and success anymore. And then again, those last 2 phases of our comp plans are focused on building up the leaders. And that is where it gets really fun when you're able to duplicate the success that you have had You're compensated accordingly. That's usually about the top 2% of the company is when you've reached those levels. And we can't wait to watch those of you who want to do that, do that. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that within these seasons, about 80% of your team or your future team are going to fit in that first bucket where they're really just focused on maybe sharing the product with their friends and family. And they're not even focused on doing the work and the service that it takes to build and grow a team. And that is okay. We will take an army of profitable partners, solar partners, and goal partners. Love that. But about 20% of your people are going to want to grow into that leadership phase. And we just want to help build up to that through the different seasons of their business. So those are the 3 ways that the seasonality is baked into our comp plan. So first of all, it's the quarterly requirements for our sales as opposed to a monthly requirement, which are already really low and very much attainable. Second of all, the opportunity to try it out for a season. And lastly, the fact that the phases and seasons of your business are baked into our compensation plan as well. So my friend, I hope that that gives you lots of helpful info and understanding on what exactly makes Restore Collective different when it comes to the seasonality of our business. And so I'm going to say a prayer and wrap us up, and I can't wait to continue diving into each one of these 5 S's in the next few weeks. Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity and the inspiration that comes straight from your word in Ecclesiastes to know that there is a time and a place and a season for everything. And we're so grateful for the season that you've brought us into to bring that energy and these time-tested principles that have been around for generations, the things that our grandmothers knew and have shared with us. And one of the reasons that's why our color names are named after the grandmothers is because they inspire us and their stories matter. And so we want to bring that generational seasonality to what we're doing here, both in terms of the product and the business. And we're really grateful for the ways that you have allowed us to do that and people that you've put in our place, so that we don't have to be the experts to know how to do it, but that we can and have curated something that's really special based on the seasonality of things. And we just are so thankful for that. So for those that are listening, we hope and pray that this helps settle their hearts for when people can tend to get stuck into comparison mode and maybe have those questions within themselves or within others that aren't bad questions. They're great questions to ask, but help them know that there is an answer and that there is something that will hopefully help them understand the beauty of what we're creating here. And so thank you again for the opportunity and for those listening. And we're just so thankful. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, y'all have an amazing week. Thank you so much for listening.